Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about our true selves. You know, we wear these different masks, different personas. We go through different stages in our lives, and many people kind of decide this is who I am. We kind of take a mixture of our emotional state, our surroundings of what's going on with our lives at that particular time, where we live, what our job is, what our relationships are like, just the kind of vibe of that time of your life, whether it's a good time of your life or a bad time of your life, a stressful couple years, or this is the highlight of your existence, this is the best time of your life. We own these different eras as identities. So for the longest time, I was an alcoholic, and I kind of identified as an alcoholic and embraced it, and that's just the way it was. And for 15 years or so, I was just an alcoholic. As I became sober, I was still identifying as an alcoholic, as many people do that go through 12 steps and all that. They could be 5 years sober and they still say they're alcoholics. I did that. At about the 10 or 12 year mark of being sober, I finally had to start asking myself, why do I tell people that I'm an alcoholic when I haven't even taken a sip of alcohol in more than 10 years? I don't even think about booze anymore. I've completely changed who I am, and I'm going around saying I'm broken, identifying as being broken, telling people this redemption story. Why is this a persona? Why can't I give it up? Why is this somehow helping me heal? So I chose for myself to start identifying as someone who's gotten over an addiction, not as somebody who is recovered. Recovered just kind of sounds like you just got over it like yesterday. You can be recovered for a little while. Yeah, that was fucked up and I'm just recovering. I had a bad day, I'm just recovering. Got my ass kicked, I'm just recovering. Right? But I kind of felt like I needed to drop that persona in order to be able to move on, to allow myself to be greater than just somebody who was broken or who was addicted. That was something that happened to me. I was horribly addicted to alcohol and drugs, and I got over it. And at what point do I identify as sober instead of as an addict? As a so-called normal person. I'm back, risen like the phoenix, instead of always just scarred. When do you let those scars heal? I've carried different personas. One of the personas that I carried with me was working class loser. And I didn't verbalize it that way. I'm a working class loser. Maybe some people talk about themselves like that. I know people that have kind of embraced the poor white trash identity. And, they call themselves that. But I definitely felt that way and felt like, certain types of success aren't meant for me, that there was a big conspiracy against me. The world was against people like me from succeeding. And, it kept me angry and it kept me from seeing opportunities. You have to have a certain amount of open-mindedness and positivity and daringness. If you're scared, if you're triggered, if you're angry, you're going to be guarded. You're in defense mode, and you may not see opportunities. And if you do, they'll be like, well, that's stupid. And you're thinking about your trauma, and I don't want to be hurt again. I don't want to be ripped off again. I don't want to be manipulated or betrayed or lied to. And you're thinking about all this protection mode, and you may not be able to even take the leap. I mean, entrepreneurship, especially, say for being in business, you have to be a risk taker. And if you're not in the right mindset, you're going to fail. You have a recipe for failure. Life can be the same way. I had to give up the working class loser mindset, the persona, that mask that I wore. You know, these personas, thinking of them as like different masks that we wear. I had to give up that working class mask in order to allow myself to be more successful in areas that I may not have been hip to or privy to, or you have to be open-minded. I got into investing. I never thought I'd be into investing in the stock market. It's not something I ever dreamed of doing when I was in the streets. It's not something I ever dreamed of doing when I sat there and mowed lawns year in and year out, having old ladies yell at me that I didn't fucking do it right. I didn't prune the right fucking bush. They give me $10. My competition was Leave It to Beaver. Some 10-year-old kid could come by and steal my job. Fucking Vietnamese and Mexican immigrants stealing my job, working for $3 an hour. Taking any fucking job you thought you had. There's no loyalty. I had to change my mindset in order to get out of that rut of low earning potential and give up that mask. We have different personas that we put on. I had a gangster persona. I'm a criminal. That's what I identified as. In fact, I identified as that so heavily that I refused. There was a period of my life that I refused to hang out with what I called normal people or civilians. If you weren't like embedded in the streets in some sort of gang or, you know, active in criminal activity, I wasn't going to hang out with you. And even if you were, you had to be a certain level of hard, certain level of toughness, a certain level of sophistication, because I didn't want to be associated with suckers. I want all, you know, hardcore warriors on my team. I want a team of fucking Green Berets where every guy is like Rambo. I don't need a bunch of pussies. And I would give up friendships with really cool, normal people. People that are just regular people with jobs and interests that are normal, healthy interests. I wouldn't want to even know them. Wouldn't want to go to parties like where normal people were. I don't want to have anything to do with people like that. I was just limiting myself with this persona that I was into. None of these that I'm explaining, these three different personas, were the real me. I could go on. We have many. None of them were the real me. I had to find the real me, and one of the ways that you find the real you is by letting go of all those ego-driven personas, fear-driven personas. You have to realize that when you're in that flow state of, say, for example, of creativity, you know, when you're really in that creative mode and you're not really thinking about anything else, that person that you are in that state, and creative, it feels just like you know, if you're a musician, you can get in that mode where this is the best riff you've ever fucking played and you're just really on tonight and you're in the zone. That's who you really are. That persona, that's the real you right there. You have to practice that, and you have to get into that flow state more, because that needs to be strengthened. And the more that you do it, the better at it you get, the more that takes over, and all those other personas, those masks, just shatter because they're shallow, they're hollow, they're weak. They're versions of you that you latched onto during different emotional states as a naive form of protection. But that real you is the form of you that's wise. It doesn't need protection from the world in the same way. It's not afraid of anything. It's all just food for thought. Thanks for watching.